I want to bring in Clinton campaign surrogate and California Democratic Congressman Xavier Becerra. Good to see you, Congressman. Good morning.
Hi, Chris.
So Clinton's doctor says she diagnosed her with pneumonia on Friday. Should the Clinton campaign just have disclosed that to the public then?
Well, remember, the secretary was still doing a lot of work, and as you just heard from a doctor, many people continue to work around with it, walking pneumonia and so forth. And so they probably made the decision that she was feeling good enough that they didn't have to worry too much about it. But what I do appreciate that is...
That's a medical decision, though, isn't it, Congressman? I'm talking about the political decision, especially given the fact, number one, that there have been questions raised about her health by her opponent, and number two, we know from the polls that there are questions about her complete honesty and veracity. So just as a political question, would it have been smarter just to say on Friday, she got this diagnosis, she's being treated, she's feeling fine, she's continuing with her schedule?
You could Monday morning quarterback this and say, sure, they could have disclosed it. But remember, that was on Friday. She continued to do work on that Friday, Saturday as well, and even on to Sunday. And so she was clearly well enough that she was doing her work. Now, medical judgment might have said to her, hey, come on, I just told you you might have pneumonia. Take it easy. But this is what happens in a campaign. You're constantly working. So I don't think they saw, nor did I suspect the secretary see this as something where they felt that they had to disclose some kind of medical condition.
But that makes it sound, Congressman, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it almost makes it sound like, well, if nobody finds out about it because she's continuing her schedule, we don't have to do full disclosure.
Okay, but you know, this is a campaign, so I understand you have to ask those questions. But let me ask you this. Have you ever gone to work when you've been a little sick?
Everyone has.
Okay, so we all have. And I think that's what she was doing. She's saying, no, I can go ahead and function. I'm still okay. And now, to say that she should have disclosed that, yeah, you can look at it now, because now she's being told by her doctors, you know, get some rest. You're recovering nicely, but get some rest. And so now we see it. But at that point in time, she continued to work for another day and a half. And so my sense is that she was probably saying, look, I'm fine. Let's keep our schedule. A lot of important things to do. A lot of voters out there that are expecting me to be at this event or that event. And so I get it. I've been through campaigns where I've been sick and you try to power through it. But now it became clear that her doctor said, get some rest. You know, get well, and she's recovering nicely, as the doctor said. So that's why we're asking this question. Now, I suspect that Donald Trump is finally going to reveal some information as well.
She's generally been healthy, although she did have 3 separate episodes with blood clots. And the first one, which she has described herself as the most significant scare she's ever had, was the first one when she was in the White House. And frankly, at that point, when she was the First Lady, the White House said very little about it. But given that history of saying as little as possible, and I'm not just talking about Hillary Clinton. Should Hillary Clinton and should Donald Trump do a full disclosure in the way that we have seen with candidates in the past, including John McCain, who released more than 1,000 pages of his health history, including several years of treatment for cancer?
Well, certainly whoever becomes president, we want to make sure is as transparent as possible, as open as possible. That's why early on, Secretary Clinton did release a summary of her medical history. We're still waiting for something from Donald Trump other than that crazy letter that came from some doctor.
He did say this morning he's going to release the results, including the test results of his latest physical, which he just had.
Chris, I'm looking forward to seeing that, because he's never released, and there's no reason why he shouldn't. He's never released his medical records, and there was no reason why he can at least give us a summary the way Secretary Clinton did. He's never told us about a secret plan to take on ISIS, and now it's unclear if he even has any kind of thought about what a plan would be. This is a guy who says a lot of things. I'm looking forward to seeing something, because it's about time he caught up in providing some openness and transparency. But I agree with you that as we saw with Secretary Clinton, within less than 24 hours of this episode on Sunday, the doctor released the information that this was pneumonia and that she was recovering nicely. So that's
Let me ask you
important.
quickly about the other headline, which is Mrs. Clinton